are 572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Our drive brought to you with the compliments of Rambali's Funeral Parlor, Joseph Shipping Agency, and JJ's Paradise. JJ's Paradise now offering day pass specials for adults at a cost of $75 BC and children $45 BC, which includes pool access, one free drink, lunch buffet style, and dessert ice cream. Children over 12 years will pay the adult price. Book a room for an additional $165 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 721-7693, 721-7693, and book a day pass package at JJ's Paradise today. Towels not provided. Joseph Shipping Agency, the only agency in St. Lucia with 24 hours efficient service. When everyone else is asleep, we are awake. Call Joseph Shipping Agency at 484-8888. That's 484-8888.
At Randall's Funeral Parlor, we strive to bring you and your family the highest level of comfort, absolute satisfaction, and peace of mind during your most sorrowful time of need.
Our professional standards and quality services are second to none. We offer ground burials, burials at sea, cremations, and embalming, fine locally made coffins, internationally made caskets, 24-hour emergency, shipping and receiving the deceased to and from overseas.
Ram Valley's signature funeral package includes a casket or coffin collection, refrigeration and preparation of the body, hearse services, 100 funeral leaflets, 12 memorial buttons, 6 keyrings, 10 corsages, and 1 framed photo.
Ram Valley's Funeral Parlor, Calvary Road, Castries, and Lartuni, Beaufort. For more information, please call 758-452-2021 or 758-454-9239.
Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, good night to our listeners and to our viewers in St. Lucia and across the globe, especially those of you checking us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and also on DBS Television. Thanks a lot for joining us on Hard Drive today, Tuesday, the 8th of July. My name is Andre Paul, the co-host of the show. To my immediate right, ladies first, none other than the lovely Keena. Keena, good morning to you.
Good morning, Andre Paul. Good morning, Tony Paul. Good morning to our viewers on X, YouTube, like Andre said, Facebook, and not forgetting DBS. They're on board as well, to the staff and Linda over at DBS. Good morning as well. Thank you so much for joining in and listening.
That's right. And say good morning to co-host number 2, Tony Paul. Tony, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Andre. Good morning, Keena. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is mighty fine. After all, it's another Tuesday.
Certainly is. Certainly is. I want to thank Rambali's Funeral Parlor, JJ's, and also Joseph Shipping for the sponsorship. Thank you very much for believing in us and supporting us here at Rev-Up St. Lucia. Okay, guys, anything to mention before we move on? Or are we good?
Dogs are so cool.
Why do you say that, Keena?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what it's like to have a child, but I've had my nieces and my nephews around, and they bring so much joy. But the other thing about dogs is funny, right? Because lately, my dogs know. The moment I take my bed sheet and about to go to bed, and I put that bed sheet over me, she's leaving her bed, and she jumps onto my bed. And you know what she does? She comes, I get a kiss on my cheek, and she goes back.
Oh, I was about to say, these days you're sleeping with dogs?
No, she comes, she gives me a kiss,
Okay.
and she goes back.
Oh.
It's like so cool. Like, you know what? The moment I cover up, she comes. It's like, ugh. Yeah, that's so cool.
So what's a kiss? A lick?
No, she just puts her nose. It's like a, hi,
Okay.
hi, mommy. That kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Keena, you say you don't have children. I've been told I'm very childish.
Yeah.
so adopt me.
Andre almost make me spit out my water boy.
Andre,
At your age?
Andre, don't stop now. I'm starting to feel better. Laughter is so therapy for the soul, for real.
Really? Okay, what do I need to do to adopt you?
Yeah, I tell you.
What baggage are you going to come with?
I qualify.
No.
But
How you qualify?
I qualify.
Wait.
I'm childish. I've been told I'm childish.
Well, besides
That's
begin-
one. That's one. And number two, I'm male, and they say all men are dogs.
Oh my goodness! I wasn't ready. No. Okay, so what do I need to do to adopt you? Though? I want to know.
We just told
I give you two qualifications.
No, you have 2 qualifications. Do I need to sign on a dotted line or anything?
No.
Is anyone going to come to my home and try to get you out of there? That's the other thing.
Have your brother pick me up.
Didn't realize I needed that this morning. My.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's move on. We have so much to talk about. Well, first off, we have to talk about the Tomaso bread place, as always.
Oh yeah.
Good morning to Yaslin. Good morning to the entire crew at the Tomaso bread place. You know, it's a family affair there. Tony, what is good days, Gasa? I must bring you there.
I've been there.
No, I mean, I must bring you there.
He wants to
Okay.
take
I must
you
bring you
there.
there.
Remember we spoke about the tour, the grand tour?
Yeah,
check
I'll
out
bring
the
you there.
place, You know what I mean? I'd like that, honestly.
Yeah, that'll be good. And see, you'll see the oven, you'll see the food.
Right.
You might even
And-
put bread in the oven too.
and you meet the patriarch.
All right.
Yeah, the person who started it all.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, he's an old man right now, but he's still there, very much involved in the business.
Oh great.
Okay.
What's your best day? Meaning for, maybe making that move.
Oh, like a Saturday
was
Saturday
fine.
afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, if I'm not playing. And I think this Saturday, I don't think I'm playing this Saturday.
All right.
So we'll talk.
All right. Very good.
So here's what's happening at the Tomaso bread place today as far as lunch is concerned. You can get seasoned rice, ground provisions, vegetable chow mein, baked chicken, head on one, oven baked kingfish. Yeah, so oven baked kingfish and garden salad. Okay? That's at the Tomaso bread place happening today for lunch. Seasoned rice, ground provisions, vegetable chow mein, baked chicken, oven baked kingfish, and garden salad.
Oh cool.
So go and eat to your heart's delight. And the price is good.
The price is right.
The price is good. I keep saying this is real food. Yeah, that's what keep us healthy.
All right.
All right. So don't forget the usual sea moss flavors: coconut, ginger, peanuts, and peanut punch, and regular sea moss with flaxseed and chia seeds. Happening at the Tomaso bread place today. Okay, so let's talk about crime. The crime prevention minister has weighed in on the crime situation. Just yesterday, I think a few people, including yours truly, were complaining and saying, how come we're not hearing anything from the authorities? We have the Prime Minister, we have a Minister for National Security, in fact, any minister. And not just the government, you have other leaders from civil society. Everybody, most people just quiet on this issue. When I say quiet, meaning they're not saying anything publicly, right? No any public statements of condemnation and sound like, to make it seem like you're getting involved. So it's more what they do in the pulpit. They're on their own little vibe kind of thing, their little private thing. And the situation, that doesn't really help if you ask me. The guys out there must understand that people do not appreciate what they're doing. And so when we have people who are in authority and people of influence coming on and getting on the case like the crime prevention minister, yeah, they know that the authorities will take action. You understand? We know the police are doing the best that they can, but it still continues to be a problem. The crime prevention minister spoke about a few things. He spoke about the influx of the illegal firearms coming in St. Lucia. And this morning I was reading about the gang and narcotics unit. What they raked in there recently, heard that? 3 AR-15 rifles. 3 AR-15 rifles. Tactical gear and high-capacity magazines. Them fellas in a war. Them fellas
Tell
fighting
me
a
about
war.
it.
Or maybe they want to export that to Israel. Yeah, maybe that's where I'm going. Because where are you going with
Where
that
you
stuff
going
in
with
St.
it?
Lucia?
What are you using it for?
Hey.
And we had a talk about people, sometimes they would say, you know what, we live in a war zone after a crime happens, or, they're like, for instance, we had 8 murders over the last couple of days, and people chime in and saying, and they would reference it to, Iraq or Gaza, we be in Gaza or something. And it makes me wonder, what are the criminals thinking when you decide to bring these weapons into our country and figure, okay, well, Tony Paul is my enemy and I'm just going to focus on Tony, right? But they don't think of the broader picture, because the guns at some point in time will be in a youth's hand. And what happens then? Because anybody, as the saying goes, anybody could pass in it. So whilst you might think that, okay, my target is Tony, someone innocently is standing right next to Tony. And not only that, it might just be your own mother, your brother, your cousin even.
Or a pregnant lady.
Exactly.
Okay?
What are you doing?
Now, maybe, I'm just speculating, maybe when these fellas order these rifles and whatever they have there, tactical gear, maybe they're sending a message to their enemies. Maybe that's what it's all about. That I pack in more than you.
Yeah,
So when the enemy has 2 AR rifles and I have 5, for example, plus I have tactical gear that you don't have, so maybe they're sending a message. I'm just speculating.
And if you
I
want
don't
to
know.
send a message, well, go in a field somewhere where nobody's around and kill each other then.
Yeah, that is sweet. that is sweet for
I have
them.
more than you. I want to pack something. I want to show you. What's this? Police, Rastas against Rastas? or I'm looking for the other word.
Police and thieves?
No, well, the police not involved in that. Like some of the high-powered rifles and so coming into the country. But I'm saying, like, if you want
Gangster
to...
versus gangster?
Right. Gangster versus gangster. Create your own movie. Find maybe an acre of land and, get it fenced and take each other out.
Maybe there's a show off.
I know, I'm just
to it.
like...
Maybe there's a show off element. For example, guys who want to speed, they always want to do it on the highway.
Yeah.
Go someplace, as you said there. Go on the Kakabeth. No, the Kakabeth. Go on the Kakabeth, right? Go there and do your thing 24/7. Drive down to Vieux-Fort and go there and do that,
Yeah.
right? No. On the road. Somebody who's drunk, they will not keep themselves in a corner. They come and trouble you.
I know, right?
They walk in on the road, right? They don't walk in the sidewalk. They have to walk in the middle of the road. I know that's a human nature is something else, boy. Yeah. We have to involve somebody else, an innocent person.
But really and truly, when you really look at it, that is a lot of planning, though. The level of planning it takes to bring firearms into our country, narcotics into our country, and what they put it into.
Yeah.
You never imagine.
And don't
They're sophisticated.
don't underestimate the guys. The guys are very intelligent guys,
Oh, my word.
They are very, very intelligent. Okay?
Sheesh.
Yeah, the fact it's a pity that they're on the wrong side of the law, because they can be very useful to the police officers. They know all the tricks. The fellas do their own investigations and know exactly what leading to, who caused this, who killed it. The fellas know. I don't understand how they know.
Yeah. They know.
How they know.
They know.
Fellas are smart fellas, but they're using it for the wrong reason.
Yeah, they're using it for...
How sad. And anyway, I was watching a program. Somebody sent me something on my phone, and there was a gang member, a former gang member. He was very prominent, very prominent guy. In fact, I can try to describe him. He has this feminine look. He's kind of like a pretty fella. Probably took his mother's features. Fair-skinned guy. He was always in the news. Looks like he's changed his life. Yeah, from the Vieux-Fort area.
Oh, Rasta guy.
You know who I'm talking about?
I think there was a
Fair-skinned guy.
documentary.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was featured in the documentary and everything.
I can't remember his
Even
name.
when they were having peace talks, he was part of the talks and so on, and explaining what had happened, what created the rift between the gangs and this sort of thing. So it looks like he's had a change of heart.
Probably.
I saw him on a program. It was produced, I think, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So I think he's a member of the church right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Great.
So seemed to have taken the straight and narrow.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So
That's
the
great.
thing is now, How come that happens with some? I wonder what intervention, what led to him deciding to go that road, and others now die. They die in their crime. Like there's no change.
Yesterday I said that, right? Loyalty. A lot of people who are part of criminal networks, they're loyal till death.
Or some of them can't come out. Maybe
And some of
they're
them,
so deep. No,
they're so deep and they can't come out. Yeah, because if I'm not quite sure what happens or what rules are in place, but it's always great that someone changes their life. How beneficial can that person be to society? And we've seen over a period of time that some of them are, so
yes.
I hope many others are, taking stock of what's happening, looking at your story, and now deciding, what, maybe I too could change my life around and do something good for our society.
Now, there's a downside to it where you have individuals who harm people. And if not the people that they harmed, maybe they've actually apologized to those people already, tried to patch things up. But sometimes now the offspring of those people who that individual hurt or harmed, they still sometimes hold
And
grudges.
that's when reprisals happen.
At the appropriate time, when they figure they're ready.
But at the beginning, you ask a serious question: what makes them change? One that immediately comes to mind is having children. Sometimes that first child, and you realize that the responsibility of having a child, and you just decide, something, that kind of life ain't for me no more. I want to take care of my child, and maybe having this female who will bear that will bear that child for you. You sometimes get a little more attached to her as well, and you want to show her that hey, I can live a different life. So
Yes.
things like that comes.
And sometimes maybe I'm sure the females encourage them.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's leave that alone.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a child right now. I'm sure the influence of the women in the lives of anybody for that matter. And don't underestimate that. The power of a woman.
The power of a woman, and it is very important that you actually said that, because if you're in a relationship with a man, and men do listen. If the right structure is put in place and they feel the love and they could communicate, you can communicate with them effectively, then change comes. Especially if they are in a place where I want change. This is already where I'm at.
Right, yes,
and
true.
you now realize that, and you help the process along. You make it smoother for them, and maybe, that.
And I think, I don't know if you may laugh at what I'm going to say, but I think also timing is very important. I think if a lady is trying to get a guy to go the straight and narrow, one of the best places to bring up that conversation is when they intimate.
You're right, but you did say we were going to laugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny.
Yeah, because he's vulnerable at that moment.
Oh.
Yeah. But then you might make a promise that you know you can't keep.
That's true.
It's the moment.
It's the moment. So
Because
like,
they're in an embrace at that particular point in time, and she brings it up.
Yeah.
And say things like, look at us, how happy we are together. I mean, wouldn't you like to know that we could be like that for the rest of our lives and not have to worry about it, to bring it up at that
You
point.
have a very valid point, because during that moment of intimacy is when you let your guard down.
Yes.
And if he truly loves her, if he connects with her in such a way, and they begin to have conversations like that over a period of time, especially after the fact, after intimacy. And there are different ways to be intimate, not just the penetrative aspect, but just being in that embrace, like you said, just chilling, just vibing. And I think it's the connection too, when you are in someone's arms, maybe just on a sofa or on a bed, and just that level of intimacy is a great time actually for that conversation to come up. So I have to agree.
Yeah, and I really wonder, even with the church, how, now I'm bringing this up because every time you have either the Minister for National Security, Crime Prevention, whoever, from when the authorities speak about crime and dealing with crime, they say the same thing all the time, which is to provide the police with more tools, and tools would mean vehicles or firearms or whatever.
Yes.
That's what they usually talk about. They don't use, when it comes to the authorities, they don't understand the power of soft power, right? Like, let me give you an example of what I'm talking when I say soft power. You have America, right? America, once upon a time, they used soft power. They would try to win your heart. Now America is not about soft power anymore. It's just coming at you, coming to get you kind of thing. So generally, government just use strong arm tactics.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm saying, the church, for example, how does the church reach them? And something I find, but that's almost impossible, because people already have a way that they see religion, right, as a poor man thing, and I have to make all these sacrifices, I have to give up this and that. And when I hear of a gang member turning away and turning to Christianity, to me, I have to say bravo
Yes.
to that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Because we generally think negatively when it comes to religion / Christianity. Yeah.
And the individuals too have to be willing to accept change. They have to be in that place of yearning. This is what I want. I'm hearing so many. I've seen the damage I've caused. I've seen the pain. I have felt it myself. And you know what? Let me just turn another leaf and go. And having the right people too is everything. I believe in this world is timing, because not everyone gets that same opportunity. Some other people may have tried and gone that same route and still met their demise. You know, so his story is a testament to, you know, just thinking, hey, you know what, I've seen so many lives taken. I may most likely have taken lives as well. I've seen the damage, and I really want to bring forth change in, you know, my community, in our society. And I do believe that, I hope that the church that he's part of, a member of, continues to support that journey.
Yes.
And I really do hope, if anything, that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and maybe other organizations, he could be part of that to kind of continue on that path.
Of course.
So it goes broader than just, you know, him, you know, wanting change, him going to church and stuff like that. And
That's
there's an impact overall.
That's a good point you made there, that the church continues to assist him along his journey, because I can speak from personal experience. I find when you get involved in a church, generally at the beginning, they're all over you, meaning they want you to come around, they check in for you, they want you to become baptized. The minute you see you become baptized, let's move on now, we have that one in the bag kind of thing. So that's a very, very good point that you're making. We tend to just slack off because we figure, okay, they're already baptized, that means they're on their way, they're kind of on their own right now, and they move on to the next person who they can get. It's like all about getting baptized.
And it's all about of saving lives and saving souls. What they do after the fact, then that's when the problem lies. Because if you're all over me in the beginning, everyone is checking on me, how you doing? I'm still struggling, even though I'm there. I'm still struggling with my identity as a Christian. I am still trying to, you know, pray. I do not maybe know how to, you know, connect with God in ways. Some people go to church and they're in church thinking, whoa, I can't pray like that. And already that's something that's like, that resonates with them to the point where, well, if I can pray like that, then something is wrong with me. And you're already dealing with your own demons. Then after baptism, what you think is going to happen? You know, it's a lot happening.
The crime prevention minister also spoke about facilitators, right? Of facilitators of crime from various sectors of society. Any ideas to what he's talking about? The facilitators, is family he's talking about, or maybe people high up in society who are involved in crime?
Anybody who
they're the facilitators.
You're part of the network of it. It's become systematic then, where, okay, Tony is my friend, you're my friend. I'm aware that Tony is doing something, and maybe I want to get a cut from it. I have a friend who's a customs officer, then that customs officer come on board with it, then a police officer comes on board with it, and then it goes higher up somewhere. It's like a network of some sort. It's just not one person doing it.
So it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of people involved.
It's a lot of work involved there, because wow, it's one thing to stop the individuals who are directly involved, but then you have, as you said there, it's a systemic problem.
Most definitely.
So in all sectors of the society, because sometimes we tend to look at maybe one segment of society like, oh, the politicians are corrupt, as though like we out of it, and we are just as corrupt. It's just that we don't, not in the seat of government. We don't have that kind of power.
We've seen it in movies and so on, where the chief police officer, the chief of police, is corrupt, and he's like leading the thing. And he's out there with his men and so on, and they're doing stuff. But of course, you know, certain parts he's just like, hey, don't touch this, leave that alone. So it's like that. Working for the big guy.
There was a Vox Pop recently on one of the local television channels, could be DBS, I'm not too sure. they asked the question, what would you do if you were the prime minister or something like that? After saying, I feel bubble.
Oh my word.
I feel bubble. I feel bubble. Yeah. So, in other words, given the opportunity, we would do it. And probably even worse, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
So we really need to fix ourselves, man. It's a lot of hard work.
It's a lot of hard work with power. You have to be really strong.
Yeah,
And
so
some people
it's a lot of hard
aren't,
work. How do we get to the point where crime for us, like we have zero tolerance for crime in our personal lives? I'm talking about zero tolerance. The guy comes to us with 5 mangoes, and we really feel like eating 5 mangoes, and he says to us, "Just give me $1 for that," right? And you really feel like eating the 5 mangoes for true. I mean, how many of us would ask at that point there, where you get the mangoes?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's petty. We see it as petty.
Exactly.
So that's
exactly.
petty crime.
Yeah.
But it's holistically, it's part of a broader thing that happens in our society.
Yeah.
Because you know for sure he stole it somewhere.
Exactly. The guy doesn't own any property or anything
right.
like that. Yeah. They tell you they just walk in some places in the bush and they pick it up. They pick it up. Yeah. Anyway, so the Prime Minister addressed this issue of the recent visit by the Nigerian president, and he made it clear that the Nigerian government covered the majority of the delegation's expenses, because that came up last week. People were wondering who's paying for this. So no doubt.
I'm happy that he came out to address it. There's been a lot of talk about it, so I'm really happy that he
no
came
doubt
out.
we had to foot some of the bill as
Obviously.
anything else.
Yeah.
Now, on Meet the Minister, I was asking why St. Lucia? Why did they visit St. Lucia? Why not maybe Barbados? Because Mia Motley has been huge on encouraging greater ties between Africa and the Caribbean and so on. And they were saying, well, why not St. Lucia?
Yeah.
But I think they made some points about the OCS, for example. They're headquartered here in St. Lucia, and a few other reasons that they were giving. So, because I couldn't understand, I said, but how we were, should I say, we're fortunate enough to actually
we were fortunate enough
be able.
for him to be
Some
here.
people may disagree with that statement.
Some people may disagree, and we all have our opinions, and that's fine. So
because good, I mean, good came out of it. You can't get away from that. Now, the interesting thing with governments is that sometimes you have one administration deciding to do certain things, like the scholarships, right? That we understand Nigeria and I'll give solution students scholarships, etc., etc. And then you have another administration coming in and stopping those agreements, if you will. Look, I'm looking at Donald Trump. Donald Trump reversed, I think, almost every policy that his predecessor Joe Biden had, for those executive orders. I think he's reversed almost everything that Joe Biden had ever established. Okay, everything. He's just signing executive orders, black as white. If there's a Democratic president that comes in, they're going to do the same thing. Because he goes like this, from this day forth, right? As though like it will never change.
Right.
But that's not how it is. So I'm just wondering, if there's a change in administration, maybe I could ask them this coming Friday. If
Thursday?
Sorry, on Friday, because they made the minister.
Right.
Yeah. If there's a change in administration, can they make those changes or these permanent agreements?
I think they're, well,
Good
in the
question.
past- yeah, good question. Bring it up on Friday.
Yeah, but I rather suspect you can change it. Just like you said, the president, Trump, has been just changing. I rather suspect you can.
And if you listen to the opposition on some of the projects and deals and agreements that we have, like maybe the GPH and whoever else, I don't want to mention names, okay? It sounds to me like if they win the next election, that they're going to be taking a real look at a lot of these agreements and arrangements. And depending on how deep, right, we find ourselves in terms of how we are impacted by these agreements, because maybe some of them we can't get out of it, some of them.
And I'm happy that you brought that up. I think no matter who it is, when a government comes in, a new gets into office, it's important for them to look at every agreement that was signed before their time. That way they know, hey, is this going to be beneficial for the people of my country? And thereby, if it's not going to be beneficial, then do something about it.
That is why I keep saying that there are stops
If
on
they can,
projects
and we're not,
so
we
on.
can be sued.
Yeah, that's why your project is ongoing, and all of a sudden there's a change in administration, and there's the stop because they have to examine it. See and how did it happen?
Yes, especially there's a contract.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we've heard that administrations have to now pay out monies,
right,
because of contracts that were signed.
Right,
And
that's what I was coming to as well.
Contracts as well.
Right, I was also coming to
and-
that. Terms and conditions, that plays a huge role. The term is X, and the condition is that X amount of years. You cannot terminate it, or if you do terminate it before that, you have to pay X amount. All of that. The terms and conditions plays a huge
And when that
role.
happens, we the people suffer because we are the ones that have to be paying the money. Our taxpayers' money are being used.
Exactly.
When something kind of goes awry. But I do believe that any administration, with any new administration, they have a right to go through all the agreements that were signed before their time and try to see maybe if they can. And not only that, there should be clauses, I think, in whatever agreement, that benefits the country somewhat, that if there's a new administration, then things can go, they could now come back to the table and change certain things. I think there should be clauses in there as well that benefits the people of St. Lucia.
Okay, now to a little history lesson. Tony, I'm sure you can recall. When we were kids, there were certain places in the city that just flooded. Once you get a lot of rain, certain streets, and I can mention a couple of them. If you know where Labrie Street is, Labrie Street is one. That's where you have Valmont, right? Valmont. Okay, you have the old, let me see, you have the Derrick Walker, the Constitution Park. So that's Labrie Street right there.
Right.
Okay, that goes all the way past the cathedral going into Brazil Street. So Labrie Street, especially close to where you have the Valmont building there. Right. Remember that, Tony?
Yes.
As kids?
Yes.
Right? That place would get flooded. It still happens today.
Now I was wondering, wait a second, as kids, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, give me a little history lesson there.
The good thing is always, I always say that I like to allow people to finish what they're saying. Because I was going to jump in and say, Andre, the place still flooding? You talk about when we were kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can I give you another one?
Yes.
Jeremy Street, near the taxi area there. Okay? That's another area. And that goes up to... Let me see. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, sometimes, in fact, on a real rainy day, Jeremy Street is flooded from the chaussee going all the way down to Manuel Street. All the way down there. I've been through that already with my vehicle. Flooded. It happens all the time. All the time. Now, I find that strange. I said to myself, Boje, why aren't the authorities addressing this problem? But they keep saying that we are below sea level, right. And because we are below sea level, it's a real challenge. I think there's a pump someplace there by the market, just opposite the market. There's I don't know if it's working. There's a pump that pumps out water, just, to help deal with the flooding, the flooding issue. There's a pump right there. Close to the vendors arcade, that area there. Yeah. Okay. So it's a real problem. So imagine my shock. I'm reading last week that the Casperis Constituency Council, they're partnering with the World Bank to spend a lot of money, up between 20 and 30 million US dollars to deal with this problem. So I just want to say, if this comes to fruition, I just want to say bravo. Because this has been a perennial, I'm telling you, since we were kids, right, Tony? We're little boys. That's been happening. And
you used to have fun walking in it.
How you mean? That's right. That's right.
You kids, you just better.
Yeah, and up to now we have that problem.
Right.
So we have climate change now, where you have rain, and I thank God, boy, that hasn't happened in St. Lucia as yet. Imagine rain non-stop for a week. That happens in some countries.
Yeah.
Non-stop. And look what's happening in the U.S. as we speak, in Texas. Look at the situation there. In 45 minutes, that river, there's a particular river that's there, that thing overflowed banks. They say in 45 minutes, the thing went to 28 feet. It went 28 feet higher. I saw video of people recording this thing. So those who were recording it are recording those who are recording it. So you're seeing people now moving, right? They're leaving, they're getting out of the way because the waters are coming, they're coming and heading toward them. I was like, what? It's only I was going up north a few years ago, and there was a flash flooding in the north of the island, and that was amazing. There was a lady, a friend of mine, who told me they were on a boat ride close to where formerly has, now it's I keep forgetting the new name. So they
something Buckeye.
Yeah, Buckeye, and I find Buckeye so different to Hess.
Very much so.
Hess was involved.
That's right.
In the local activities, but Buckeye just they're on the pipe. Anyway, the lady said to me that she's on this boat ride. I said, is it raining there? She said, no, it's beautiful weather. And up north was being inundated. And that happened, you remember, Tony, I mean, we saw what happened with Fire, when Fire sent us a video of his home being inundated with flood waters. I saw this thing gushing, because he lives close to a river.
A few years ago.
And he was recording it. And when he realized the water, just like Andrew said, the water comes towards you, you just have to stop recording.
Yes. Remember he sent it?
Yeah, that's right.
I freaked out when I saw that. I said, my God. And that happened in less than no time.
That's right.
I left my home to head up north to do something. By the time I got up north, I couldn't get back. It took me hours to get back. So that kind of thing with climate change taking place, right? And we have the Christmas Eve trough, which was experienced. So we don't necessarily need to have a hurricane to create major mayhem in the country. So that's an issue that we're dealing with now, where it rains for days and days and days, or you have the flash flooding, that sort of thing, right? Even in the VG area is another. That just came to mind, close to the airport there, right? That gets the sea goes in. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I really want to say bravo to the authorities for trying to address this problem. I hope that's just not talk.
Right.
That this goes somewhere.
Yeah, they will address it.
Let's hope that it's very possible, because remember they built something on Calvary Road, that wall thing that they built there, that the water was supposed to come through there and go.
Right.
And the waste and stuff should,
Yes,
exactly, that thing. Maybe it's because of, again, garbage.
Yes. I don't even know if that thing is even effective. I don't even know.
It is.
That's why I brought it up.
It is.
But to me,
I'm not sure. You see, sometimes
it is some, and you know what? To add to that as well, it goes back to us. Even maybe we don't have proper drainage. Obviously, the city of Castries is over a period of time, and they've been trying to put different mechanisms in place to deal with that. Maybe green infrastructure, or improved drainage, and so on. But we keep littering. Our waste disposal is terrible.
Yes, it's true.
So what happens when we are inundated with rains? Our drains get clogged, and what do you think happens after that?
You see the plastics and so on. The plastics that we try to avoid all the time with the supermarkets and so on. You still see those plastic bottles, plastic bags and so on that cause serious.
That's why we were saying earlier, when we speak about corruption, right? That's a form of corruption where you are not, you don't have what they call the zero tolerance for those kinds of behaviors. Right, you look at another person as we go, government corrupt, lawyers corrupt, the church is corrupt, but we're not looking at ourselves. That's a form of corruption, because you are helping to destroy your own country.
Yes.
With the littering and all of that.
Oh yeah.
For garbage disposals, stuff like that.
Yeah, Tony, I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I think almost 99% of the time, if I have any garbage in my vehicle, I hold that thing right there.
I do the
Anything
same.
I have to dispose, I keep it right. I don't just go, The only thing, I'll be honest with you, I do throw outside the window is like banana skin and sort of thing. Yeah, yeah, that kind of thing.
I still keep it.
No, I mean, that goes back into the earth.
It's
that's biodegradable.
That's the concept. But just imagine you throwing it out the window and someone is walking and they.
No. I threw it in the bush.
Oh, in the bush.
In the
okay.
bush.
All right. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So it goes back into the earth. I'm saying that's the only thing you'll see me. Although I'm not perfect, and maybe there might be a time I may do something foolish, but generally, that's the only thing I throw out my window. Okay, so zero tolerance to corruption, period. Okay, and bravo to the City Castries Constituency Council for taking on this project. And no doubt, Tony, I'm sure that's going to help even beautify the city even more, because you know proper drainage and so on, right? And when we have these heavy rains, at least we don't have to be worrying about that anymore. But that's a huge project. That's a huge project. Okay, let's spare a thought for Kenya. There's every year about the same time, we have an upsurge in this protests and so on. There's a name for it. I think it's called Saba. When these people protesting government corruption and so on, the governments tend to come down really, really hard on them, using live rounds and this sort of thing. And I will never understand that.
Yes.
I will never understand that. That you're the police, you're leaving your headquarters or wherever you are to go to deal with a problem of people protesting. And sometimes they do stupid things. They break the law. I'm not going to make excuses for that. Sometimes they're looting, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But to go there with live rounds, you cannot expect the people now to let that pass, because governments have to understand that you are there to serve the people. Now, it's true there are troublemakers. We can't get away from that. But you have to think carefully of the consequences of your actions, that once you come there using live rounds, that means you're going to kill people. So we have it's like every year we have the same problem with people getting killed. And on Monday was no different. Of course, observing that time there, how many years ago, when I think in the 1990 that started, when they rose up against I think it was autocratic rule. You have people who are just not calling elections and so on. So the people rose up against that. But these autocrats, what they do, they try to silence you. So if they use what they call the strong armed tactics instead of what they call the soft power, right? Remember, we spoke about soft power earlier. They think now they're going to get you to behave yourself.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it never works.
It never works.
So since 1990, every year, right, or at least maybe when they feel it's necessary, they come out. They come out, and the police are coming down hard on them. So they now, so far, they say at least 10 people dead, hundreds arrested. So they put these people in jail. Sometimes they keep these people in jail for years without trial, nothing.
But what really struck me, because a lot of the times it's young people taking to the streets, demanding accountability.
You know, while you were saying all of that, Tiananmen Square came to mind, you know.
Yes, that's another one. Suppress it. Suppress it. And as you said them, usually young people. You know why? Because older people tend to be a lot more tolerant of Papi Show. We are tolerant.
Yes.
And especially, it's not in our nature, if you will, to protest and to get on and this kind of thing. It's just like, I remember, and a lot of people like that. Mama was like that. She would go to the doctor. She wouldn't ask a single question. She wouldn't ask the doctor anything. As soon as she enters my vehicle, she started to ask me questions. But she wouldn't ask him anything. You know why? That goes back to the thing about respect for authority, right? And you don't speak up. You don't talk to your parents. You don't talk back at them. That's how they were raised.
Between that and not understanding what the doctor would say to you.
That too. So we tend to be more tolerant.
It's true.
The younger people now,
they're not
different kettle of fish.
That's why I'm remembering the Tiananmen Square, because there were students that demonstrated and all of that, and the young people, and it was a lot of them. You all remember this?
Yes.
Well, Keena is a little young.
And you know what? That's when we don't see it that way, but that's desperation turn into anger when people take to the streets. They're just frustrated. They're tired.
Yes.
They can't anymore. And it should send a strong message, but for whatever reason,
it should. It really, really should, because you're looking at the young generation. That's people of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow. So it really should play a role. Like you said, Andrea, us old folks. What are we doing? You know what I mean? We're done on retirement already.
Yeah, that's true. I mean? So the Chinese, the authorities, they crushed that man
big time.
You know what I remember? I'm sure you probably remember it too. I think that is the image that stays in people's minds. When you had this tanker, right? This tanker. Of course, with this barrel pointing, and you had this lone student standing in the way of this tank. I call it a tanker, sorry, this tank. And every time the tank moves left, remember that? He moved left. If it moved right, he moved, defying. He wasn't violent or anything.
Right.
But that was amazing to watch
defiant,
that. Very.
But the authorities came down there, they crushed that man. They crushed it, and there's never been that sort of thing since that time.
Exactly. Never.
Well, they sent a strong message that if you're going to try to stop us, we're
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same
We
thing
were the
there
ones, yeah.
in
Yeah.
Kenya and so many other places there, whether it's Iran.
But they should realize it ain't stopping. Every year the same thing happens. So do something about it already.
Well-
Hear their cries.
But that brings up the question.
Shush.
Who knows best? Government knows best or the people know best? Because there are times the people will say things to the government. For example, I have to bring the US again. The polls are very, very, very clear as to how the people want this war in Gaza to end. The polls were clear. People want it to end. Joe Biden refused to end it. Polls, even under Donald Trump, same thing. We want this war to end. And Donald Trump, so far, not doing anything about it. So who's right? Is it that the governments know best or the people know best?
That's such a very interesting and important and brilliant question, I think, because you think about the people who put them there. We are the people. We put you there, but we put you there to work for us. Maybe you are the brains and so on that we elect to be there to make those decisions. And then, of course, when the people now start to rebel or protest, we have a problem with that.
So here's the problem with that. You have now people who are just troublemakers.
Yeah.
You have people who maybe have political reasons why they involved in those protests.
Yes, well said.
So governments now have a tough time deciding, are these people who just support the opposition, looking for trouble,
Yeah.
Right.
right? Or are these genuine people who have a genuine concern and they want us to respond to those concerns? So that is the trick, that I guess, for those rulers.
Exactly. That's right.
Boy, so it's rough.
That's
It's
right.
rough.
The governments also need to realize that, we the people live with the consequences of every decision that they make. And though we might think that, or they might think that, hey, it's maybe the opposition, and that rightly so, in some instances, rightly so.
In fact, sometimes you have opposition, members of the opposition
Actually,
in the
right,
protests.
right,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yes,
right.
yes,
That does
yes,
happen as
yes,
well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But the people feel it first, and I'm sure that no matter what administration is there, you should, and you could tell the difference between, I'm sure by now, you should be able to tell the difference between a party hack or an individual calling and saying, you know what, I'm really struggling. Or coming to your office and saying, you know what, this is really happening in my community, and we really need help with that. And to be able to put policies in place so that it benefits the people in that particular community or overall, our society. Because the people really do feel it first. Every decision that governments make, the people really do feel it.
But in the final analysis, I think if you're trying to put down a protest, using live rounds is not the best
No,
thing.
no, no.
At all, at
But they
all,
still
at
do
all.
it.
Yeah.
As we see happening, as we speak there,
In
in Kenya, this is taking place.
Nah.
They're using live
I'm
rounds
not in agreement with that at all.
to shoot at the people, and then they arrest them, they keep them in prison for many years without trial. It's crazy. So the people end up hating you. They hate you. Now, just like, St. Lucia, two-party system, have United Workers' Party, the St. Lucia Labour Party. They've tried. Other people have tried to bring a third party, etc., etc. Now, America is like that. You have the Republicans and you have the Democrats. So, Elon Musk, who is very, very angry at Donald Trump right now for introducing what Donald Trump calls the big, beautiful bill. I think they would be spending a kind of money on this thing. I think trillions of dollars going to be spent. And Elon Musk, who is a guy, probably seems to be tough with money. See, it seems that's how he is. He's very, very tough with money. He was heading what they call DOGE, the department, I think, of whatever. His job was to save money, right? That's what his job was, to save money here, save money there. And he started doing certain things, cutting this, cutting that, and people already getting to hate him already because they were even attacking his vehicles. People say, hey, what was that? You're going to cut my job? You're going to cut how many people have to send home and this and that, right? So he felt, listen, I work so hard now to save so much money, and here you are coming now, just going to pass a bill, spending trillions of dollars. What kind of ambition is that? So he had won Donald Trump and told him, if you go ahead and you get that bill passed and you sign it, next day I'm having a party. It's not a party, not a fete. I'm going to be announcing what do you call it? He called it the America Party. Yeah. He said this will be a party truly for the people. So, so Donald Trump, of course, responded to that already, telling him, he's off his rockers and this other thing. and saying he called him a train wreck.
Typical response from Donald Trump.
Yeah, train wreck. Yeah, man. He says it's ridiculous bringing a third party. The country's about the two-party system, and then in the end he said anyway, he said, let's see what happens. Let him have his fun.
Mm-hmm. That's what Donald Trump said.
Yeah. Let Elon have his fun. In other words, you think you can get another party and to try and break the habit of having two parties, this sort of thing. That's what he's saying. So the thing is, Tony, do you think that we all think that Elon Musk is wasting his time trying to have another party?
Yeah, he is.
You think so? You know what Elon Musk learned? You know what he learned? Because of the election, he learned the power of money.
Exactly.
Being able to buy people.
Exactly.
And he said it.
Exactly.
Okay? He said
That's
it.
right.
You know, he had a lottery during the last election.
Yeah.
He was giving out $1 million. I think it was a week? Every week he was giving $1 million. That's still in court. Because people are asking whether he had the right to do that. So I think a judge said we'll deal with that a little later, but they had other things worrying about. So for now, he was able to go ahead with it. He realized you could buy them politicians.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's why he was with Trump in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, he invested a lot.
But
I think over 200 million.
If he continues with that party, it's going to take years to build.
To build.
Yeah, man. And knowing one thing about Elon Trump. Elon Musk.
In today's world,
He is not going to give up.
Yes.
He is not going to give up. He's not going to back down.
He's just that kind of guy.
He's that kind of guy.
You see, he's going after something. He goes after it.
Yeah,
Boy.
man.
So let's just say most likely there will be a third party then.
Yes, he's serious.
Yeah, he's very, very
He's
serious.
serious.
If his stocks, Tesla stocks deep, it's still going. He's still going to continue on, but it's going to take years to build ballot access, to get other people on board with him, and so on. It's going to take a few years.
All he has to do is buy them.
That's it, simple.
They are for sale.
Yeah.
And a few billionaires will join him.
Yeah.
And that's another thing again with the politicians in the US, which I do not understand. These people have it good already.
That's right.
They have it good already, and yet still they will not say no to a bribe. A lot of them.
Andre, the first billionaire, I think, politician would have been the name I remember, Ross Perot, right?
Yes.
Ross
Yeah,
Perot.
good one, Tony.
Just decided, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, kind of thing.
Now what they do, the American politicians, they take these bribes like campaign contributions,
Right.
but it's a lot of money. About millions of dollars, right? Millions of dollars.
No, but they have to fund their campaign, eh?
Well, exactly.
They
So
have
that's what
to
they
fund
say.
their
So that's what
campaign.
they're using it for.
And that's what they use it for. But
then now you have to pay the
you
piper.
have to pay the,
Yeah, you got to pay the piper.
yes.
I think Musk spent over $200 million
Yes, on
assisting Trump. Yeah.
Imagine that.
So
huh?
made tough with money.
Yeah.
So if he's spending that kind of money, he has an ulterior motive. Okay, all right. Just a little footnote here before we get into the shout-outs. I read a story this morning. It touched me, and I tell you that one touched me because I'm a father. And right now, for example, in the case of Nairobi is her mom has moved on. Her mom is now married and so on.
Married?
Yeah, she's married.
I was not aware.
Yeah,
For real?
She is. Yes.
Wow.
So
Wait,
she's
a few years?
no. She's moved on and she's now married.
Okay, all right.
Okay, she's now married for maybe a few months now. Right? So
Okay.
Nairobi.
Congratulations. Can I?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. So Nairobi is with her as anything else, and of course Nairobi has a stepfather. And I could tell that he seemed to have a genuine interest in the children. Okay, because Nairobi's mom has two other kids. Now I read a story this morning. I mean, it really, and I tell you, that one really touched me. And I said, let me get your take on that. There's a guy in New York, right? His daughter is getting married for the second time, and she has made it clear to him that she wants her stepfather to walk her down the aisle, not him. He's saying, I have been there for my daughter. Well, that's his story, yeah? That's his story. We didn't hear what the daughter had to say. But he and the girl's mother broke up, he said, 36 years ago. And he says it was a bad divorce. Okay? So he is now asking this psychotherapist, what is he being childish? Is he being selfish? Right? By the way he's feeling. He's feeling as though he's been let out. In other words, why not me? Why should the stepfather have the first dance? Why should the stepfather give her away?
Right.
You know, and why not me? And the man is expressing his feelings. Let me tell you some of what he said there. He says, this has crushed me. He said, I didn't say anything to her when she told him, of course, that I want my stepfather to be the one to lead me, to give me away. He said, oh, okay. Right? He said, but I was devastated.
He would be.
I was devastated. He says, I don't want to go and watch this other man, right, walk my daughter down the aisle or dance with her first. He said he doesn't want to go there. So he's thinking, should I just skip the wedding? But he's also saying, maybe I'm not really needed there. He said that. He said, maybe if I don't go, I will not even be missed. He's really, really hurting over this. And I'm reading the story and I'm feeling this guy because in a sense, I'm kind of like in the same situation, right? How, here's the advice that I was giving to him. And let me hear what you say, right? As this psychotherapist, right? She says to him, these traditional fatherly roles, walking the bride down the aisle, sharing a dance, can carry enormous emotional significance for some people. But there's another way to look at it. Given that your daughter wants her stepfather's involvement in her wedding, it sounds like he has been a warm and meaningful presence in her life. Could you just step back? I'm reading the thing, I'm really feeling bad. Could you just step back and appreciate him not as a rival or replacement in your daughter's life, but as a positive addition for her?
Right.
That gets really deep,
It does.
It
It
cuts
really does.
deep. And his feelings are valid.
Yes.
His feelings
Yes.
are
Very
very,
much
very
so.
valid. And I'm not
Very
going
much
to,
so.
to take away from it. But he did say that he wasn't an absentee father. But what if that stepfather was there for that daughter when she needed him the most? And they have that connection. So, yeah, you might not have been an absentee father, but you're still not in that household.
That is the part I was waiting for you to go to. Being in that household. Andre, it's like the way we grew up as well. Both biological mother, as we always say, and, of course, our grandmother. Our grandmother was there to dry the tears and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Wipe the backsides and do everything else. Our biological mother was never really there, except she would come once in a while and try to discipline us and so on. So that's how we saw her. But again, I think Keena's point is so valid, that the person that is right there at the time, you can do all what you want. You can provide, hey, I come and I visit and I stay for hours. But there's that time of the night when the kid may be a little sick, feeling unwell, and that's who is there.
Having a bad day, the advice given, all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
But I get that. That's for the stepfather. But for the father, I get that as well. That feeling you're there for your child and you absolutely love and adore your child as well. It's just that you and the mother didn't make it. I feel for him as well.
And I also feel for him not wanting to go to the wedding because I imagine the guests would know him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And have to see
That's right.
the daughter
That's right.
going, and he's giving her away. The stepfather is doing all of that and taking the first dance. Oh my God!
It's going
boy.
to take a lot from him
Wow,
to
that's
go
a
to
tough
that
one.
wedding.
Yeah.
A lot.
There-
And if he feels like standing out and be like, I'm not going to go because I'm not needed, and that's how he
Yeah,
feels,
that's how he
rightly
feels.
so,
Yes.
because he is the father. It's not him being petty. It's not his ego. It's grief.
Yeah.
That this is my child. I have been there. I wasn't in that household all the time, but I have been a provider, and it's pain. His pain is valid.
I know of a real life story, exactly that. With a person I know really, really well, told me the story, freaked me out.
So what's the story?
Had to deal with exactly that.
Did he go?
I think he went. That's the part I kind of do remember. I think he went and had to deal with that. Had to deal with exactly that.
Sometimes we have to put our feelings aside and do. It's difficult to get to that point, but it speaks of our growth and level of maturity. And say, you know what, I just want my daughter to be happy. And if that's what she wants, then as much as I'm hurt by it, maybe he should have a conversation with her. Maybe say, you know what, can we both walk you down the aisle? I'd love to. How about
Now,
that?
there's another story that's the opposite to that situation, where you have the father and the stepfather doing it together. I'll read that story tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll read that story tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I really commiserate with this guy.
Yeah.
I really understand, because
I understand.
if it were me, I mean, I know for sure right now I'm kind of like separated from Nairobi, and I know she loves me. She does, right? But imagine Nairobi getting to that point. Now me, the kind of person I am, my personality, I wouldn't go.
That's right.
Because of my personality.
You wouldn't go.
Yeah, I wouldn't go, because I know how I would feel, right? So to avoid that kind of feeling, I just wish all the best.
You wouldn't go.
Give you a nice gift and everything. Just try to understand that I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This is
that's
the kind of person
understandable
I am.
too.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to weddings, though, people make decisions, and they would say, you know what? Instead of having their brother, their sibling, be the best man or the maid of honor, they choose a friend. And there is some rivalry there. People are like, well, I'm your sister and I'm your brother, it's not me. I'm not even one of your best men. And they take it to heart.
That's true.
And animosity begins to build. But at the end of the day, sometimes really go deeper. What relationship do I really have with my sibling? You know, am I really there for that sibling all the time? And again, we're adults, and it's a decision that they would have to make, and respect their decision. As tough as it is, we will have to get to that point to respect someone else's decision.
And as I just keep in mind, that's his side of the story, because maybe in his mind he was there, but as Tony was pointing out a little earlier, in the daughter's mind, right? You know, as you said, Tony, those times when I really needed to see you. For example, when you see you're sick and your eyes are closed, and those little moments where you open your eye and you see, like my grandmother, with her hands on top of your body, rubbing you with the Vicks or whatever.
Right, the fiction.
Yeah, putting it by her hand by your nose and telling you smell that, this kind of thing, right? I mean, that leaves a lasting impact, you know. It really, really does. It really, really does. And you're right. And Mom could not understand that. She felt because she was the biological mother, we're just supposed to just love her, right? And we did love her.
Yes.
Because remember, sometimes those barrels used to come.
Oh, yeah.
Barrels is nothing new. I mean, I'm from times. Yeah, the
Barrels and boxes.
clothes would come, and this and that would come. We were very, very happy. Sometimes you see the check coming. She sent a check, and my grandmother's always careful to tell us, this is from your mother, that kind of thing.
Right.
That is true.
Right.
So we loved her in that sense. But the real bond
Right.
was with our grandmother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
It is.
I really feel it for that guy. I really do feel it.
It's really deep.
I really do feel it. And he says that the breakup with the wife was tough, with the girl's mother. It was a tough one. It was a tough divorce. And I think we all know what that means.
And if it was a tough divorce, rightly so, he actually opened up about it. What was she able to see during that time? Some children are aware of situations, they're in it, they see it, and that can lead to her decision going forward as well, even though he was around still and providing.
Yeah, boy. You know, I watch a lot of African movies these days. I wasn't into that at all. And you know, I see people making decisions. Imagine I'm watching a movie, I see them making decisions. I say, oh boy. At the end you'll say, I'm sorry. Because you already know that they're making some poor choices.
Yeah.
And they think at the time that they're doing the right thing. So they're in it, man, 100%, right? And next thing you know, things just start to go awry. And as usual, at the end of the movie, I'm sorry for things that could have been avoided.
Yes.
Yeah. So as we human beings, boy, I don't know. Maybe we don't know. We don't look at our decisions and how decisions will be far-reaching. The consequences are far-reaching. We just look at the here and now, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So let's get into the shout-outs. But tomorrow I'll have a little. It'll be a lot better than today for sure.
Okay.
We'll be on the upside with a wedding where the stepfather and the biological father going down together, man.
Right.
Oh,
Wow.
great.
Right.
Yeah.
Woohoo. On the WhatsApp platform, the first person to chime in is, let's see. Oh, doesn't have a name. Good morning, Keena and the Paul brothers. Andre, a little history lesson. Under the Kennedy administration, millions were spent to deal with that problem, including the expansion of drains and the building of that pond in the garden. Also think the pumps by the
That's one I'm
arcade
talking
was
about. The
replaced.
pond. Pond in
Yeah.
the garden, yeah. That's the one I was talking about.
Well, the problem is still there.
That's right.
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
Someone else says, good morning to you guys and lady. Go back to the pond in the gardens. Millions was spent on that project. With the same flooding in Castries, has it addressed the problem? Yeah. So
Well, I'm sure when the Minister Frederick maybe is going to be making an official announcement, let's hope now that the reporters and so on who are going to be there will remind him of those things, and how are we so sure that this $30 million US is going to make any difference? Yeah. So yeah, when the time comes.
Someone else says, that's Josiane actually. She says, good morning, Rev-Up family. Sends kisses, well, a rose and hugs.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Josie.
Josiane.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for accepting my call. He says, it's a queen contestant fail. Can she return 6 years later to contest again?
If a contestant, this one?
If a queen contestant fail, can she return 6 years later to contest again?
I mean, what?
I'm not giving you money 3 times until I get that. Andre, I agree with you. I'm not sure.
Maybe the show this morning. That was in the Love Zone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He was saying that once he gives a lady money, especially once, twice, 3 times, and he's doing other things for her, and she accepts it, then he is supposed to get, his share.
Oh, okay.
The way you put it in.
His share. So I think we're going to have that topic in detail next week on the Love Zone.
Okay.
Yes.
But I
Because
never quite get why if you... Anyway.
If you see, for example, you at a dance, for example, and you offer a lady a drink, and I've seen that already, you offer a lady a drink and she accepts it, that means now you hang around, You have a right to hang around. Yeah. So the ladies have to be very careful. The minute you see you accept the drink, there's a high probability the guy was just hanging around.
Yeah, and want to dance.
Yes.
For sure.
Someone else says the last comment. Someone else says, Andre, in that situation with the daughter and stepfather, I think the stepfather should be the bigger person and step back and allow the father to play his role.
Whoa.
That's why they call him stepfather.
Step aside. Step aside.
No, but what if he was doing? Yeah, he's a step, but he's in the child's life.
I'm just joking about it.
But I get what.
Yeah, that's why you call him step.
Maybe that's what step back.
Step aside. Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But again, ego.
Now for true. Now the person is saying that if it were me, and I play a real stepfather role, and I know the father's going to be there, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't walk her. I wouldn't dance if I wouldn't give her away. I just back off.
Yeah, especially if you know that the father was
hood. Yeah, exactly.
Not hood, but he has been playing his role as a father.
Yes. Yeah, and some stepfathers will do it on purpose too.
I'm there now. I'm the man. I'm the daddy.
Take that in your skin. Take that. But that's an interesting point.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Tony, Facebook.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, let's try to get to it. I want to lean forward a little bit so I can get closer to the Facebook. All right. Sharon Peter opened up and said, "Happy Tuesday" from Sharon and Kim in South Jersey.
Hey, Sharon and Kim in South Jersey. All the best to you. Thank you very much for listening as always, and for viewing if you're viewing as well
on Facebook.
Yes, Sharon. Always a pleasure hearing from you.
Yeah. Followed by Pius Snappy Yeman. He says, good morning.
All right, Pius.
Then, of course, Melanie Destang checked in saying, pleasant Tuesday morning to everyone. Drama Queen Augustine says, good morning, Rev-Up family.
Good morning, Drama Queen.
Lilia Victor followed saying, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Morning.
All the best to you, Lilia. Thank you so much.
And Christine Shallery says, good morning to you all. Have a great day. Thanks, Christine.
Morning, Christine.
Thanks, Christine. Good morning.
John Flavian says, good morning, peeps. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you, John. Cecilia St. Marie Peter says, good morning, everyone. Followed by Elsa Hippolyte saying, greetings to my Paul brothers, Keena, and all in the chat room. Have a fantastic day.
You as well.
Good morning. You as well.
Joan Shallery says, beautiful Tuesday morning, Andre and Tony and Keena and everyone listening, with lots of kisses, emojis, and hearts as well. And, of course, the praying hands. Westy Duet says, good morning to the host and hostess, Keena. Westy Duet came right back and said, what are they doing with this kind of armory in St. Lucia, and who are not into law enforcement? And you are right. You are not into law enforcement. You have that kind of armory in St. Lucia, and you're not into law enforcement.
Yeah, exactly.
West Edwet, it's the people who shipped these weapons to the island. Princess Nelson. Hi, Princess. Princess says, good morning, Rev-Up family. Clara Sammy says, good morning to all. It's a beautiful day. Make it a great day.
Morning, Miss Sammy.
Good morning, Miss
Hope
Sammy.
all is well with you. We know you're going through your tough times, but just remember that tough times don't last forever, right? There will be a back to normalcy at some point.
That's right. John Flavian says, Andrea, the criminals don't really want to die. The tactical gear is for their protection.
So,
West Edwet, because we are surrounded by water, it is a bit difficult to control the smuggling of some of these weapons. West Edwet,
especially what we call our porous borders.
right. West Edwet says, agree, they are cowards and afraid of death. True fans of KKR News. That's what the person call themselves, I suppose. True fans of KKR News. All right. John Flavian says the question is, where are those guys getting the funds to purchase those weapons? They're not cheap. Where are they coming from? Who are the facilitators? Andre, he may have changed and went the way of the Lord, but whoever he may have dealt with in the past may have not gone the same direction. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. All right. Very good. Pearl Food Baby Henry says, good morning and happy Tuesday to the Rev-Up St. Lucia family and all in the chat room. Again, true fans of KKR News. Women are very powerful. If you get a bad one, you finish.
But you hear females say that all the time, how a female really can behave. Yeah,
man.
She can be wonderful, beautiful, loving, caring, everything. But boy, there's another side there. Boy, you have females actually tell you that.
All right. Okay. Nancy Grayson says, Andre, yes, don't underestimate the power of a woman, but don't underestimate the power of a stubborn, stupid man.
Good one, Nancy. Good one. I love that.
Then West Edward came right back and said, if there is a serial number on the weapon, they can know where it is coming from. I guess they would remove that serial number. I don't know. Is it removable?
Good question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is? Okay. All right. True fans of KKR News again. Patwa, let's see, P-A-T-A-W-A. Patwa Zam is very powerful. Okay.
What?
I don't know. I think
Who's
it's like
that?
Patwa Zam.
What's Patwazam?
Never heard of it.
Patwazam? Mama.
Yeah, P-A-T-A-W-Z-A-M. Yeah. Patwa
Maybe
Zam.
the individual who might tell you what it is.
Okay. West Edward says, a Samson and Delilah moment.
Samson and Delilah moment.
Trying to think of what it is.
Maybe when that time when the woman would try to encourage the guy to.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Change his life,
Good one.
you know.
Yeah. Good one.
Yes.
All right. Nancy Gracelyn said again, some men are cold and numb inside. No woman can penetrate that only God can.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Lucita Jean-Pierre. Good morning, Lucita. She says, good morning, Andre and the beautiful Keena and Jerome. Saka Fet. Terrific
morning,
Tuesday to
Lucita.
all.
And we know who that is already, Tony. Mr. Jerome.
Lucita Jean-Pierre.
Lucita, thank you so much for that bottle of water. Much appreciated. I was saying to Tony yesterday, when I go to these parties, you hardly ever get a female offering to buy you a drink. Even in the water, you hardly get a female offering any DJ inside there a drink, right? But you find males are the ones who usually offer to buy you a drink. Generally, that's how the ladies roll in our country. So I was going to say thank you to Lucita, because when she offered, I kind of took note. I said, oh, wow, a female. Then she's telling me, that, of course, that's her. I said, oh, sorry, I didn't recognize you.
Okay.
Yeah, she looks so different.
Okay.
You know, when the ladies dress up and everything, they look so different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here comes a really nice one. Really, really nice. Very complimentary. West Duet. Don't come here and contaminate the program and chat room. This is an educational program. Serious talk and conversation going on here. So, if you can contribute positively, stay in your section.
I wonder what he's talking about.
That's really,
Maybe
really sweet.
someone chimed in, said something, and he responded. But thank you, and I have to knock on wood.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, sometimes we do have comments in there that are a bit much.
And it's good when a fan can actually say words like that, because a lot of times, Andre, we think, okay, our numbers aren't as big as the others and so on, and we have a way that we do the program, like you said, educational, and we go with some facts, some opinions, and so on, and the people love it. For me, that's really, really good. And it shows great appreciation. Really, I appreciate you for saying that. All right, so Lucida Jean-Pierre came and said, good morning, everyone on the live and Radio Garden. Share the link. Big up Pato Rigobert, my sister D. Francis Obeis as well.
Okay, D. Francis Obeis.
Hi, Dee.
Happy
Good
Tuesday to
morning.
you, D.
All right. Marlon Gill says this. Rev-Up, your station is a cut above the rest.
Thank you, Marlon.
Really very much
Appreciate
that
it.
as well. Thank you, man. All right, Kim Job, KIMJOB, KKRR, love to do the same Pat Wazam thing with old woman.
Hmm?
no comprende, no
What's that
comprende.
was, Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, carry on.
Never
All
heard
right.
that word before, but
Marlon Gill says this. I listen to Andre comes on because I work from home. Okay. I listen to Andre COOMES. Maybe when Andre comes on. Okay. So I listen when Andre comes on because I work from home after suffering 10 strokes. What? Hi,
Oh
Keena
my
and
God,
Tony
Marlon.
LOL.
Are you serious?
You
I'm
guys
so
have me
sorry.
laughing my off. All right.
10
Marlon
wow.
Gill.
Oh,
Marlon, are you
gosh.
serious?
Sorry, so sorry to hear that.
For sure.
Kisses.
Yeah.
Ooh, that
Wow,
kind of
wow.
hit me there.
10. Never heard that one before, boy.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my.
Lucita Jean-Pierre says, what I realize in St. Lucia is what I realize in St. Lucia looks like mostly everyone is there for a cut. Money. You're telling people good morning. They're just watching you. Looks like I'm in the middle of nowhere by Charlie Pride.
I know the song. I know
Middle of
the-
nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Okay. Lucita would know her country. You know what I mean? She says, get out on that platform with your nonsense. Maybe they're referring to someone, yeah, okay. Not sure. But
I'm not
somebody
sure
probably put
either.
something in there that maybe really displeased them. And we thank you all for that. We really, really do. Peter Gillard says, Team Rev-Up, good morning. Do something every day that makes you happy and stay cool. That's so
Agree.
sweet.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
that's
Peter.
really, really sweet.
Appreciate it.
All right. Lucita says, I'm looking for the PM to tell him fix the airport because I'm a traveler. West State Duet. All right. We facilitate crime sometimes in little ways. I bought an Bluetooth earpiece. Okay, I bought a Bluetooth earpiece from the streets. And my daughter, who is studying law and forensics, criminal psychology, put me up and said, don't do this again because you are helping that person steal. Andre, I had a long reflection and promised never again to do this. Of course, what
Yeah.
West Duet is talking about is that buying stuff from people on the street.
On the
Okay.
street,
Right.
yeah.
We touched on that a little bit. All right. So Lucita Jean-Pierre came and says, no other party will survive in America. Just like St. Lucia, they can spend all the money they have. Lucita also continues, Andre, buckle up. Barbara Augustine says, always a pleasure listening to my favorite people on Rev-Up. Good morning, Rev-Up family members. Thank you
Good
so much
morning,
for that.
Barbara.
Stefan Hippolyte says, why can't both be part of the wedding? West Duet says, I agree, Andre, I rather not go. Arthur Charles, I guess it's birthdays. Let's find out. He says, good morning, folks. Today is the birthday of the following persons. Miss Virginia Hetty Phillip, 99 years old today.
Hetty's celebrating a birthday.
Happy birthday,
Wow.
Miss Hetty.
I know her.
yeah.
Remember, she used to be calling, at least when I was at 100, she used to be calling all the time.
Right.
Wow. I haven't heard her, boy.
She's 99.
99. Whoosh.
Yes.
Mhm.
Happy birthday, Miss
Yes.
Virginia.
Happy 99th birthday to you, Hetty. Yes.
And
Very nice
he-
lady.
He
Very
just
nice.
wrote something there, the mother of Lord Jackson.
Okay, all right. And you know,
Okay.
Jackson is still going strong.
Jackson still, yeah.
Although I
yeah.
haven't seen him in a while.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
I know our good friend
I
Keena
don't
has no idea who Lord Jackson is. Yeah.
I've heard his name before. But
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now, he continues. Today, also Patrick Pato Malquab Joseph.
Mr. Pat Joseph.
Pat Joseph, yeah.
So his birthday today?
Today.
Hey,
Tony,
Mr.
I was
Joseph.
drinking water. I almost with the name there.
Malquab.
Yes. Happy birthday, sir. Now, Tony,
But happy birthday, though. Happy birthday.
I haven't seen this gentleman nor heard from him in quite a while.
That's true.
Oh.
I
That's
hope
true.
he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Hope he's in good health and so on. So, Mr. Joseph, if you're
Happy
listening, good morning to you, sir.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. All right. Hope all is well.
Right on. And he said today would have been one year since Constable 642 Tyson was given to the
Oh, really?
was
Thanks
given
for
to
that
the police
information.
from the French government.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Clara Sammy says, Andre, I would ask both of them to walk me down the aisle. I guess that would be the best thing to do. I agree too.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Septima Joseph says, everyone, blessed Tuesday. Westy Duet says he stepped up in your absence, so it will be hard for him to step back or aside. Terry, all right, let's see who this Terry is. Terry Malanda. All right, Terry Malanda, hi, good morning to you. Terry says, good morning, guys. Once again, keep up the good work. Very informative. So much I've learned listening to all of you. Tony, thank you for my request on Saturday. This Saturday, I would love to hear If by King Pele. Okay, we have looked for that song. Honestly, I've really looked for that song quite a bit. The #1 radio station in St. Lucia, Terry Malanda. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you,
much
Terry.
appreciated. But again, since you're there, I have looked for If. People have requested that song. I just have not seen that song anywhere. That's If by Pele, Andre.
Oh, yes.
All right. So Gibson Charles says, morning, brothers and Kiki. Tony, I was the same situation, but no way. His stepfather would be the one. Wouldn't allow. Never.
Oh,
Grape said
boy.
that. Andre Gibson, he said that he was in the same situation, but no way, man. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know what he did or what he said.
He walking his daughter down, or daughter or son down the
So
aisle.
he said he was in the same situation?
That's right.
I wonder what he did.
Yeah.
He said, no way.
So he insisted.
Man, go and represent.
Oh,
Let me read it for you. Brothers Kiki, okay, I was in the same situation, but no way his stepfather would be the one. Wouldn't never allow that. And Lucita wraps it up by saying, you're very welcome, Andre, with the water.
Yes, man, Lucita. So that's it?
That's it.
Alrighty.
We're in good hands.
So, Keena?
And by a quick announcement, of course, we are hoping to do this next week from 11:30. We're working on the promo. It's it should be there to tell everyone that we're starting Rev Up the Homegrown 11:30 a.m. as of next week, Monday and Tuesday, with your blessings, of course.
Of course.
Okay, just making sure.
Of course. Yeah.
So Rev Up the Homegrown will no longer be 6 p.m. It comes in at 11:30, and of course, the lovely Kiki will be co-hosting with yours truly, Tony
I can't
P.
wait. I'm super excited.
Right. And the top 10 homegrown as well will be shifted to Friday afternoons from 2 to 3 p.m. The sponsor has said no problems. They've given us their blessings as well. So something to look forward to.
So we have a promo almost set to go.
Yes, that's right.
To keep, of course, reminding our listeners and viewers. Okay, so Keena, what do you have coming up on the show today?
The United States government has closed the Jeffrey Epstein's case with no further disclosures planned.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And also, the U.S. Homeland Security yesterday posted on X that he was. I'm looking for the word now. I can't. The FBI did disclose that there were over 36 rapes they had. They were going to charge him with, but what's the word they call somebody who?
Like a predator?
No. Who works for the police? I can't. The word is just not coming to
Works
me.
for the police, undercover cop.
He
or
wasn't an
something?
undercover cop. There's a name that they called him.
Informer?
Yeah.
Informer?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was an informer for the FBI. Jeffrey Epstein was. Yes. So U.S. Homeland Security yesterday confirmed that he was an informer for the FBI. Yes. Also, is sleep loss quietly eating away at our brains? I'm going to touch on that as well.
Is what?
Sleep laws.
Sleep loss.
Oh, sleep loss. Oh.
Yes,
I
quietly
lost, yeah.
loss, quietly eating away at our brains. There's research to prove that, and I'll touch on that as well. Sean Combs is back in the news. I think we already know what's happening. He's facing ongoing legal challenges as his sentencing hearing approaches. So that's something else.
You know, there are at least 60 civil cases
Yeah,
lying in wait, for Sean Diddy
Yeah,
Combs.
man.
About 60.
Yep.
Okay?
and they're planning to expedite his sentence hearing.
And you know the worst part about the trial, because they were playing videos and everything. You know, the man, it actually described the man's penis, what it looked like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they did.
You heard about that, right? They say it looks like a Tootsie Roll.
Oh my!
So I Google, I say,
Look forward to
pics of a Tootsie Roll. Yeah? I like to do my research.
Yeah. Trust you to do something like that. As well, Colombia has banned child marriages, so that's on the cards as well. China has launched the world's first AI hospital.
Wow,
Yep.
China.
Yeah, they've launched their
They're
first
playing,
AI.
man.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Just back to the Sean Diddy Combs thing, just because we have about 2 minutes there. Just quickly, same thing I'm talking about when I watch the African movies and these decisions that you see we are making. We make these decisions not thinking of the long-term consequences. We're not asking ourselves, if I do this particular act, what is the most likely consequence from something like that?
Tell me
We're not
about it.
asking ourselves those questions at all. I'm just thinking of Sean Diddy Combs and the R. Kellys and all of them who now facing a possibility of 20 years behind bars.
No, but even in the Sean Diddy Combs case, I'm thinking, you know what? Everybody involved should be charged because they were all part of it.
Well,
Cassie, the strippers, they were all part of this thing,
well, they all saying they were coerced. That's the problem.
Yes, yes.
They were saying
coerced,
we
yeah.
were forced into it.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to some of the
Drugged and so on.
interviews,
Right.
Yeah.
the male strippers, when you listen to some of their interviews after taking the stand, all of them have said, all of them have said Sean Diddy Combs would just be there pretty much in a corner
Yeah, watching.
watching. That's all he did. He didn't pay anybody anything. He would just say, more baby oil. Turn this way, turn that way. More baby oil. That's all he did.
Yeah.
And most of the times he either had a cap on or other times the first meetings, all you could have seen was his eyes. That's all he did. And, eventually at some point in time, he would, play with himself, right? But that's all he did. He was just there.
But remember, he was the facilitator.
He was the
I
facilitator.
came close to the mic to say exactly
Yeah,
that.
that's what he did. He organized those things, and that's against the law.
Well, Cassie was you see, again, then again, we're going back to the thing, she was coerced. Okay.
Or drugged.
drugged.
Or
Uh-huh.
drugged. Yeah.
drugged.
But as I said, we must learn from those things.
Yeah,
I'm at the top of the list. To imagine if I make a decision now, what the most likely outcome will be. And if you can see what it'll be already, see me, man.
a lot of people don't think, some people don't think of what the most likely outcome would be. In that time, it's like, hey, I have all the money, I
Yeah.
have the resources,
Yeah.
this is what I want to do. I want to pleasure myself, or I want to feel good. Maybe I am lacking in some way, and that's what I want to do. Maybe it will never get out.
There's always a chance of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
So, let me just remind
Except
our...
if you're there by yourself, then I by myself. And then again, by myself. Other than that, once there's somebody else, like a friend of mine says, if you want something to be a secret, don't tell anybody else.
Right on.
Or to involve other people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because somebody else, you may be able to trust them that they wouldn't tell certain people, but there's always somebody that this person trusts.
Right.
That they will, yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
you know when it happens, as we spoke earlier, when they're in that embrace.
Or sometimes when there's more money involved, or sometimes when they realize, you know what, I was a victim, and they didn't see themselves as a victim before, but it really hits them. But hey, I was part of that. I was affected by it. And okay, that person has to take full responsibility for what they did to me. And they come to that realization that, hey, if I don't stop it, it will continue.
R. Kelly is serving time, I think, for 2 major charges against him. How many years for one? How many years for the other one? I don't remember exactly what the sentencing was. When that's done, it's not over.
Yeah.
He has charges within another state.
Yeah.
So that means he's leaving jail an old man. If he even makes it there.
Exactly.
Imagine how it must be feeling right now in a jail there for the rest of his life. There's nothing he can do.
Ain't no going
And now,
back. There's nothing
right,
you can do.
Right, you have Didi now staring down the possibility of 20 years behind bars. Plus, you have at least 60 other cases against you pending. Ultimately, there's one involving his son, where it is alleged that he was a coach. He was actually coaching the boy on this yacht. What to do?
I remember that.
Yes.
That's another case that's supposed to be coming up involving his son.
I remember.
My gosh, man! Wait, boy! Ow!
Ain't no.
Anyway, so Keena is going to be with you until 3 o'clock this afternoon. As always, Zen the DJ from 3 until 6, and then from 6 until 7 tonight. I'll be back here, God willing, for Doctor in the house, Dr. Leonard Suraj. So this has been Hard Drive with the compliments of Rambali's Funeral Parlor, JJ's Paradise, and Joseph Shipping Agency. Joseph Shipping Agency, the only agency in St. Lucia with 24 hours efficient service. Remember that. It's efficient service. When everyone else is asleep, we are awake. Call Joseph Shipping Agency at 484-8888. That's 484-8888. At JJ's Paradise, we're now offering day pass specials for adults at a cost of $75 EC and children $45 EC, which includes pool access, one free drink, lunch buffet style, and dessert ice cream. Children over 12 years will pay the adult price. Book a room for an additional $165 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 721-7693, that's 721-7693, and book a day pass package at JJ's Paradise today. Towels not provided. By the way, Tony, he said he got a buyer for the boat.
Ooh, somebody bought it.
He said he has a buyer for the boat.
Okay.
So I guess somebody heard the ad and they want to buy the boat, man.
All right.
Oh, you go.
Alrighty. So don't forget, our drive also brought to you with the compliments of Rambali's Funeral Parlor.
In moments of loss, finding comfort and support is essential. At Rambali's Funeral Parlor, we understand that every life is unique, and honoring that life is our mission. Our dedicated team is here to guide you through every step, offering personalized services that reflect the cherished memories of your loved one. From traditional funerals to modern celebrations of life, we provide a range of options tailored to your family's wishes. Whether it's a simple service or an elaborate tribute, we ensure every detail is handled with care. Let us help you create a meaningful farewell, honoring the legacy of your loved one. To learn more about our services, call 758-452-2021 Castries, 758-454-9239 Viewfort. Visit us at www.rambalisfuneral.com. Rambali's Funeral Parlor, where memories are cherished and love is everlasting.